Magandang umaga mga kapitek. Ako po si Sir Willie Giev. Ako po ang inyong lead trainer ng ating PTEC Encash Review. Ang aking pagpasa ay noong 2015 at ako po ang isa sa mga top passers ng aming batch. Nandito po ang mga videos na gagawin po natin para sa inyo upang kami makatulong sa inyong goal na makapasa at maging isang full-fledged na school principal. Ang PTEC program na inyong napapanood at magiging parte ng inyong journey ay hindi lang po simpleng individual videos, but rather ito po ay isang programa, kaya inaanyayahan ko kayo na i-explore ang aming channel para makita nyo po ang iba't ibang mga sessions at iba't ibang mga mock test na ibibigay po natin para makatulong po sa inyo sa inyong mga kapite. So, enjoy learning and good luck sa inyong journey. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik sa aming video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Maraming salamat.
Pala akma yung mga equipment na meron siya, wala pala siyang kakayanan to supply yung ganitong mga klase ng mga materials, pero nakita lang sa mga documents na ipinakita, yun po yung mga instances na ang isang bidder ay nade-disqualify pa rin. Doon po sa tinatawag natin na post-qualification. Pag pumasa naman siya sa post-qualification, dire-diretso na po yan. Pag pumasa na sa post-qualification, ibig sabihin, pwede nang ibigay yung award ng contract, and then eventually bibigyan na siya ng tinatawag natin na NTP, no? NTP stands for the notice to proceed. Ito na yung hinihintay ng mga bidders, no, na kapag nanalo sila at na post qualify na sila, na award na yung contract pero hindi pa nabigay yung NTP sa kanila, hindi pa rin po sila pwedeng umpisa noong construction or whatever man or delivery. Okay? So yung receipt and opening of bids and closure and evaluation of bids ay hindi po nangyayari pa yan in the different activities na hindi pa nakalagay yan. Hindi yan nakalagay doon sa mga specific na mga stages as per RA 9184. So ilan lamang yun na mga stages na nakalagay po doon sa mga procedures na tinatawag natin na competitive bidding. Ang kumpletong details po niyan ay makikita natin kapag meron po kayong libro na hawak or any excerpts, no, na may kinalaman po kay RA 9184, at titingnan nyo lang po yung mga different procedures related to the bidding or competitive bidding. Again, let me emphasize, lahat po ng bidding, lahat ng mga purchases, okay, i-clarify ko lang po ito ha, lahat po ng mga purchases na ginagawa po natin sa eskwelahan, ang nire-require po talaga ng RA 9184, ang pinaka-primary procedure po dapat natin ay ang tinatawag natin na competitive bidding. No? Kapag may mga instances na hindi po kaya yung competitive bidding kasi mitikuloso yung procedure at napakahaba ng procedure na, napaka-tenuous yung procedure niya, binibigyan at maliliit lang naman ng mga purchases yung ginagawa natin, yung mga small value procurement na tinatawag natin. Bibili ka lang ng ganito, bibili ka lang ng 2 rim ng coupon bonds, no? Ikaw ba ay magpapabidding pa, magpapa-competitive bidding pa na tinatawag natin? Are you going through that process of a rigorous procedure? So hindi na. Ngayon, merong nakalagay in the RA 9184 na nagbibigay sa atin ng alternative, no, kay competitive bidding. Pero lilinawin ko lang, kapag naka-encounter po kayo ng tanong at ang tanong ay may kinalaman sa procurement, palagi ang nasa isip natin, ito ay mag-uumpisa kay competitive bidding. Pag hindi applicable si competitive bidding, then we go for yung tinatawag natin na alternative modes of procurement. Andyan na po yung shopping, negotiated procurement, small value procurement, repeat order, yan, yung mga iba't ibang klase na tinatawag po na alternative modes of procurement. Pero, lilinawin ko muli, competitive bidding ang primary procedure, no, na inaalaw ng ating batas na RA 9184. kung hindi lamang, no, ang qualification lang po na term doon, kung hindi applicable ang competitive bidding, doon lamang po pwede na gumamit tayo ng tinatawag na alternative modes of procurement. Okay? Kasi gusto kong linawin yan kasi nga yung mga procedures natin sa eskwelahan, yung mga processes natin sa eskwelahan, usually hindi na nga natin nababanggit yung competitive bidding eh. Kasi nagsha-shopping na lang tayo, negotiated procurement na lang or small value procurement na lang po ang ating ginagawa, no? Para lang magkaroon tayo ng idea na hindi pala 'yan, no? In the real sense or in the legal sense, kailangan pala competitive bidding po ang ating primary uh, procurement process. Okay? Number 3, all of the following are true to GEPS under the RA 9184. No? Ano yung GEPS? Electronic Procurement System. No? So, Government Electronic Procurement System. Kung di ako nagkakamali yung term. It is a single portal that can be utilized as a primary source of information on all government procurement. All procuring entities shall utilize it for the procurement of common and non-common supplies. It shall ensure the security, integrity, and confidentiality of all documents submitted, and it includes a feature that provides for an audit trail for online transactions and allow the COA to verify the security and integrity of the systems at any time. Okay? Alin po dyan ang hindi totoo kay Government Electronic Procurement System? Sa atin po, ang tawag natin dyan ay PhilGEPS. No? Mas familiar tayo dun sa tinatawag natin na PhilGEPS. Si ano ba, Ma'am Vanessa, meron na po kayong PhilGEPS account ng eskwelahan po ninyo?
Parang wala.
Wala. Okay, sige po. Kasi ano yan eh, magkakaiba po. Sabi po ng COA ay meron tayong tinatawag na meron tayong tinatawag na training pa diyan bago ka bigyan ng account ang eskwelahan ay kailangan meron pang 5-day minimum yan eh na training kasama yung mga admin team para makabuo ng isang account. Okay? Kasi hindi naman tayo lahat na mga procuring entities ay na-utilize. Kaya nga po diyan ang hindi totoo the following are true except. So hindi totoo kay PhilGEPS diyan ay yung letter B, no? All procuring entities shall utilize it for the procurement of common and non-common supplies. Okay? So, hindi po kasama yan. Hindi po totoo na lahat ng mga procuring entities shall utilize it, sabi niya. Kasi yung mga procurement ng mga relatively smaller na mga eskwelahan ay hindi po nakakapasok dito. No? But rather, instead na mag-PhilGEPS tayo, we'll just be doing with the usual na procurement na nagkakaroon tayo ng RFQ, na nagkakaroon tayo ng yung actual na canvas ng iba't ibang mga items na kailangan po natin. Okay? It's a single portal, yes, you can visit anytime the PhilGEPS. It is also a portal that is not only utilized by the government, but at the same time, it is also a portal that can be accessed by the suppliers. So halimbawa, meron kang supplier or merong supplier outside of Pangasinan, pwede silang pumasok lalo na kapag medyo malaki yung amount na naka-post doon sa PhilGEPS ay pwede silang mag-bid, mag-submit ng kanilang mga bid gamit yung portal na ito. Okay? And aside from that, ang PhilGEPS ay merong threshold, merong threshold. Meron siyang tinatawag na threshold of I think 50,000. No? Kung ang procurement ay higher than 50,000, then kailangan ito ay maiposte gamit ang PhilGEPS. Gagamitin mo yung account ng eskwelahan para ka makapag-poste ng iyong mga needs. And then suppliers will be looking for it. Suppliers will be notified, lalo na yung mga iba't ibang mga layers of categories nila. May mga silver, may mga platinum, yan, may mga iba't ibang terms din yan yung mga suppliers eh. and mga contractors. So halimbawa po ay 50,000 and above yung procurement, then kailangan mong iposte. So alam nyo, you can have as high, you can get yung mga supplies as far as Mindanao. Okay? Kasi yung iba talagang nagbibid yan papunta doon. And nagmo-monitor ng kanilang mga field jobs sa camp. Okay? Pero not all procuring entities shall utilize it. Kasi limited lamang yung mga nakaka-post dyan, lalong-lalo na yung mga may account lamang. Okay? Number 4, as stipulated in RA 7184, each procuring entity, 9184 supposedly, as stipulated in RA 9184, each procuring entity shall establish a BAC for its procurement. Who among the following could not become a member of BAC? Sir Russell, a master teacher for 15 years. Ma'am Eileen, a teacher 3 and owns a hardware store. Sir Jody, a newly hired teacher. Or Ma'am Annalyn, a school head for 2 years. Sino dyan ang hindi pwedeng maging miyembro ng BAC?
School head, sir.
Yes, school head. Nabanggit na natin yan. It's letter D. Hindi po pwede siya kasi siya ay head of the procuring entity. Procurement involves all of the following. Number 5, procurement involves all of the following except A, acquisition of needed supplies and materials. B, constitution of bids and awards committee of the school. C, creation of the school inspection committee. And D, can be undertaken anytime and anywhere. Alin po ang hindi kasama dyan sa procurement?
Letter D.
Letter D, sir.
Yes, letter D. It can be undertaken anytime and anywhere. Hindi po. Anytime, no. Anywhere, no. Anytime kasi nga, hindi natin pwedeng i-procure ito ng oras na gusto natin because there's a time frame para po sa lahat ng yan. Meron pa tayong time ng pag-submit po ng ating purchase request. Kapag may purchase request ka, tsaka ipoposte natin, magkakaroon ng RFQ kung small value procurement man yan or shopping yung procedure, meron timeline na sinusunod po natin. Kaya hindi pwedeng anytime. Hindi rin pwedeng anywhere kasi yung mga qualified at mga winning bidders lamang ang po pwede natin na ma-involve in our procurement procedure. Okay? Number 6, a technical working group is created to assist the SBAC in the procurement process. Which of the following is or are the possible functions of the technical working group? Assist in the preparation of the bidding documents, take custody of the procurement documents, prepare minutes of the SBAC meetings, or assist in the conduct of the post-qualification activities. Alin ba dyan ang trabaho ng TWG? So, baka ang tanong natin muna sir, ang TWG ba ay yan na po ba yung BAC Secretariat? Parehas po ba ang TWG at ang Secretariat? Yes, Ma'am Lilibet.
Hindi po, sir.
Correct. No? Hindi po pareho yung dalawang yan. Ang technical working group ay specific group lamang na kailangan mo to give recommendations and to assist in the procurement process, lalong-lalo na sa pagbibigay ng mga advice. Halimbawa, ang technical working group or ang procurement ay may kinalaman kay construction. So ang TWG mo dyan ay yung mga engineers. Okay? So kung sa division yan, ang mga division engineers. Yan. Physical facilities coordinator, halimbawa. Kapag ka naman ang bidding may kinalaman kay mga electronics, yan, iba din naman ang bubuuin mo na TWG. Okay? Kasi nga, ang TWG ang nagbibigay ng technical support para po dun sa bidding process. Okay? So, alin dyan ang functions nila? Number 1, assist in the preparation of the bidding documents. And number 4, assist in the conduct of post-qualification activities. Okay? 1 and 4 lamang po yan. Alright. Yung take custody of procurement documents, sinong may trabaho po nito?
Back, sir.
Back.
Secretariat.
Prepare minutes of the back meeting. Sino pong may trabaho niyan?
Secretary, back secretary.
Secretariat. Yan. Ayan ha. Malinaw po yun. Take custody of the procurement documents si back. The back, mismong back, mga back members yan. Pero si secretariat ang magpiprepare ng minutes of the meeting. Okay? Yung assist na yan, yung dalawa pa yan, yung preparation ng bid docs at saka yung assist in the conduct of post-qualification, yan. Doon papasok naman si technical working group. Okay? Ang number 6 po, ang sagot natin ay letter B. Okay? 7. Aside from the back, the head of the procuring entity shall create a secretariat which shall serve as the main support unit of the back. Which of the following are the functions of the secretariat? A, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Lahat po ba yan trabaho ng back secretariat, yung 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay? Organize and make all the necessary arrangement of the back meetings. Tumpak po yan ha, trabaho po ng back yan. 2, prepare minutes of the back meetings. Sabanggit ko po kanina, trabaho din po ng back yan. 3, assist the back in the preparation of the bidding documents. Yan na po ha, trabaho ito ng TWG. Hindi po ito trabaho ni hindi po trabaho ito, no? Hindi ito nakalagay na trabaho ng back secretariat. Okay? Kaya hindi po kasama yung number 3. Tingnan natin kung kasama ang number 4. Make arrangements for the pre-procurement and pre-bid conferences and bid openings. Kasama din po yan na trabaho ng ating mga back secretariat. Kaya ang sagot po natin dyan ay 1, 2, and 4. Hindi po kasama si 3. Kasi yung 3, yung assist the back in the preparation of the bidding documents, yan po ay trabaho ng ating mga membro ng technical working group. Okay, number 8. Bidding, just ask questions ha. Kung may mga katanungan po kayo, may gusto kayo na mai-clarify, magtanong lang po. No? Para kasi apat lang po kayo. Sir Ricardo, good morning. Nandiyan na si Sir Ricardo. Magtanong lang po ha para klaro, may interaction po tayo. Kung meron kayong gusto na ma-clarify, lalong-lalo na po dito sa ating issue no on procurement. Number 8, bidding documents shall be prepared by the procuring entity following the forms and manuals set by the GPPB. Ano ba yung GPPB? Government Procurement and Policy Board yata. Procurement Policy Board. Hindi ako nagkakamali dun sa GPPB. All of the following constitute the bidding documents except A. Approved budget for the contract, plans and technical specifications including its brand name, delivery time or completion schedule, form of contract, and general and special conditions contract. Alin po ang dyan? Hindi kasama sa mga bidding documents natin. Anyone? Approved budget for the contract. Ito yung tinatawag po natin na ABC ha, ABC. Ang ABC, ito yung approved budget for the contract and usually predetermined na po yan. It's either it's already included in the budget mismo or it is determined by the budget officer in coordination with the head of the procuring entity. Pero kadalasan kapag malalaking mga projects po yan, it is already predetermined. Yung budget na yan ay nakaset na as per the Department of Budget and Management. Kung ilan yung binaba ng DBM na approved budget ng contract na yan, usually yun na yung sinusunod, no? At yun na yung inilalagay as part of the bid doc. Okay? So, plans and technical specifications including its brand name. Are we specifying brand name para sa mga bidding materials po natin? Halimbawa, bibili ka ng isang yung face mask or alcohol, halimbawa, COVID-19 supplies. Are you going to mention the brand of the yung alcohol na bibilhin mo?
No, sir.
No, no. Hindi pwede pong bigyan ng pangalan. Alam nyo, when I took the exam in 2015, yan ang isang number one question na ang tagal-tagal namin na hindi na ano kasi napakahirap nung exam na yun, nung 2015. And napaka-pressured talaga yung time. And yun yan, number one yan, nakalagay yung brand name. So never specify the brand name. Okay? Bakit ko mali? Bakit mali ko yung, alam ko na mali ko yun eh. Matagal kong pinag-isipan kung ano, kasi magkakalapit yung mga tanong. Bakit ko mali? Kasi nga, during my tenure as a department head, nakikita ko talaga na ang practice ay may mga pangalan yung mga ano. Pag bumibili, ay mga brands, nakalagay yung mga brands, ganyan. Yun pala, in the procedure, in the RA 9184, never kang magbabanggit ng mga brands. No? Ang kailangan mo doon, ang kailangan natin ay yung technical specification lamang. Bibili ka ng sports equipment. Bibili ka ng basketball, halimbawa. Kailangan mo bang i-specify yung brand name? Never. Never mong babanggitin yung brand name. Babanggitin mo lang yung technical specification niya. Bibili ka ng bond paper lang ilalagay mo. A4, letter, or ano ba yun? Legal, yan. Yun ang mga babanggitin mo. Pero never mong babanggitin yung brand name niya. Okay? Delivery time or completion schedule, kasama din po yan. And form of contract and the general special conditions contract, kasama din po yan doon sa mga bid docs. Ang mga bidding documents ba ay ipinagbibili? Sir Ricardo, nandiyan ka ba? Binibili ba ang mga bid documents? Halimbawa, ako ay isang bidder and nalaman ko na mayroong 2 million budget for a particular project sa isang division. Ang bidding documents ba ay pwedeng ipagbili ng division office sa mga bidders? Ma'am Vanessa. Ipinagbibili ba ito? Yes, Sir Ricardo, go ahead.
Wala akong idea, sir.
No idea si Sir Ricardo. Thank you. Sige, Ma'am Vanessa, are you there? Nahirapan yata si Ma'am Vanessa sa connection.
Yes, sir, na nagcha-choppy-choppy sa akin yung connection.
Okay, sige. Ma'am Lilibet, you have any
Sir,
idea?
bawal po
Ipinagbibili
ipagbili.
ba? Ma'am Vanessa, ano yan?
Hindi po.
Hindi.
Hindi po, sir.
Ma'am Lilibet, ipinagbibili ba ang mga bid documents?
Ang alam ko, sir, hindi.
Hindi. At ang mga bid documents po ay ibinibenta. No? Ibinibenta ang bid documents depende po sa laki ng contract. So the higher the contract, ang lalo pong lumalaki yung bid documents. Alright? Halimbawa, ang supply, ang isang construction ay umaabot ng 10 million. Ang kung di ako nagkakamali, hindi na bababa ng 25,000 yan ang bid documents. So kung ikaw ay bidder, kailangan mong bumili ng bid documents na ganun kahalaga. Pwede bang refundable ba yun or pwede bang maibalik yung ipinagbili mo ng bid documents kung natalo ka na bidder? Hindi. Hindi mo na ma-refund yun. Ganun po yung process po natin. Anong ginagamit dun sa mga pera na yun na nakukuha, na ipinagbibili? Nakukuha natin yon or ginagamit yon bilang honorarium ng ating mga BAC members. Yan. Doon po nila kinukuha yung pondo na yon. Okay? Kaya nga meron silang pinaghahati-hatian na honoraria po nila, which is not more than 25% of their basic salary. Ito po ay nakukuha nila kapag may mga bidding procedure po na ginagawa. Okay? So legal po yon. Legal na ibinibenta ang mga tinatawag nating mga bid documents. Okay? Sige. Number 9. In line with the principle of transparency and competitiveness, an invitation to bid must be undertaken to ensure the widest dissemination of the process. Which of the following is not true about the invitation to bid? Alin dyan yung hindi kasama? It shall be posted in the procurement entity's premises, definitely, lalo na kapag malaking procurement, pati yung mga newspaper kasama, nakaposted din yan sa PhilJeps. Okay? A pre-procurement conference prior to each and every procurement is optional. A pre-bid conference may be conducted upon the request of a prospective bidder. A pre-bid conference shall be held within a reasonable period before the deadline for the receipt of bids. Okay? Not true about the invitation po or about the invitation to bid. Ito po ay letter B. No? A pre-procurement conference prior to each and every procurement is optional. Hindi po optional yan. No? Talagang nagkakaroon po yan ng how do you call that? Hindi po optional, no? Mandatory talaga yun, yung pre-procurement conference yan na ginagawa prior po yung procurement. Lalong-lalo na po yung mga malalaking mga procurement procured items, talagang nire-require po yan na malalaki po mga okay? Number 10. A bid is a signed offer or a proposal submitted by a supplier, manufacturer, distributor, contractor, or a consultant to the procuring entity through its Bids and Awards Committee. When can a bid be not accepted? Kailan hindi pwedeng tanggapin ang bid? 1. If the bid was submitted after the deadline, if a prospective bidder submitted his eligibility requirements electronically, if a bidder who previously withdrawn his bid prior to the deadline submitted another bid, or if a bidder modified his bid after the deadline for the receipt of bids. Alin po diyan ang hindi na pwedeng tanggapin ang mga bids niya?
Letter D, sir. Kasi
Letter
D.
D, correct. 1, 3, and 4. No? Hindi na po pwede yun. Siyempre, the bid was submitted after the deadline, hindi na po pwede yan. A bidder modified this bid after the deadline for the receipt of receipts, hindi na rin po pwede yun. Kasi kung ano yung sinabit nila na bid, yun na yung technical specs niya. A bidder who previously withdrawn his bid and submitted another, hindi na rin po pwede. Kasi automatically, kapag nag-withdraw siya, that means that is already a withdrawal, no, from the supplier to participate in the bidding process. Ang kasama lang po dyan, kapag ang prospective bidder submitted these eligibility requirements electronically, po pwede po yan. It is accepted kasi nga meron tayong tinatawag na PhilJeps kung saan pwede nilang isubmit doon ang kanilang mga documents electronically. Okay? That will increase transparency and efficiency of the process. Okay? For number 10 po ay letter D. 11. Bidder X won the contract for San Isidro Elementary School. However, after the post-qualification, he was not awarded with the contract. What might be the possible reason or reasons why bidder X did not get the winning contract? All right? I'm having my class, anak.
Then later, baba my part.
Wait lang po. Go. Yan. So, alin po yung mga dahilan para ikaw ay ma-disqualify, no, after winning doon sa bidding process? Bidder X refused to enter contract with the procuring entity. Bidder X failed to post the required performance security within the period. Bidder X failed to act within 10 calendar days from the receipt of the NTP, or the back of San Isidro failed in following the prescribed bidding procedure. Alin po dyan ang di-disqualify doon sa bidder?
lahat po, sir.
Lahat, correct. No, lahat po 'yan ay mga conditions, no, para po ma-disqualify yung isang bidder. Alright? Sige. Isa-isayin natin. Pwede ba na si bidder mag-refuse to enter a contract with the procuring entity? Pwede, no? Pwedeng siya mismo yung mag-refuse ng contract. For one reason, baka nakita niya na in the actual, nakita niya yung kanyang mga challenges in the development or in the halimbawa lang, no, ay biglang hindi niya kinaya yung mga supplies na ibibigay niya, or may maraming mga challenges na nakita niya in the actual na delivery ng mga construction, halimbawa, pwedeng mismo siya mag-refuse to enter into the contract. Pwede rin naman na fail to post the required performance security. Meron kasi tinatawag na performance security na binabangko po yan as a form of a parang bond na halimbawa ipopost mo itong 100,000 na ito or 500,000 na yan, depende sa amount ng as a security na kapag na-complete na yung contract, doon lamang ibabalik itong security na yan sa iyo. Okay? So, depende yan sa laki ng kontrata na nakuha mo. Kung medyo malaki-laki yung contract, malaki din yung performance security. But if you were not able to pay it at hindi ka nakapag-deposit ng performance security na yan, ay hindi rin ikaw bibigyan. Hindi rin pwedeng ibigay yung NTP sa'yo. Or within 10 calendar days ay hindi nakapag-act itong si bidder from the NTP date ay hindi rin siya pwedeng And then the Bank of San Isidro failed in following the prescribed bidding procedure. Lahat po yan ay mga conditions so that the contract or the winning contractor will not be able to be given yung NTP or the different yung maaaring mga dahilan nito na hindi maibigay sa kanya finally yung kontrata na para sa kanya. Okay? Number 12. The BAC can declare a failure of bidding in following instances. 1. No bids are received. 2. No bid qualifies as the lowest calculated responsive bid or highest rated responsive bid. And 3. When the winning bidder refuses to accept the award with justifiable cause. Okay? The BAC can declare a failure of bidding in the following instances. Alin po dyan ang tama?
Letter C, sir.
Letter C, yes. Both 1 and 2. Dalawa lang po yan. No bids are received. No bid qualifies as the lowest calculated responsive bid or highest rated responsive bid. Yan lang yung pwedeng i-declare na failure of bidding. Yung winning bidder refuses to accept, that's another case. It's another case. Kaya hindi siya technically defined under the failure of bidding. There's another term that will be used for that, but it will not be under the definition of failure of bidding. Okay? No bids are received or no bid qualifies as lowest calculated responsive bid. Go ahead, Sir Ricardo. You're raising your hand po.
Hello sir, mayroon lang akong itatanong dito sa bidding na to,
Sige
Kasi
po.
mayroon akong experience diyan sa isang school heads ko, isang school head sa MOOE, nag-automatic siyang nagkaroon na siya ng bidding.
Okay?
So na-approve ng property custodian or yung physical property custodian kaagad 'yon. Nagkaroon ng bidding, hindi na dumaan sa BAC. So is it automatic ba na in-approve ng property custodian yung bidding, automatic na rin bang it goes na lahat sa mga bidders na ay mga BAC members?
No.
Kasi nagtataka ako doon meron ka agad. Nakita ko yung sa MO na-approve na. Nagkaroon ba ng bidding? Ang tanong ko, nagkaroon ba ng bidding? Yes. Walang bidding. Na-approve na ng property custodian. Physical property custodian. So, is it proper bang ganun? Nagkaroon ng parang walang bidding pero in-approve ng property facility custodian and then okay na.
Okay. Maraming mga items yung nabanggit ni Sir Rick, and isa-isahin natin. Unang-una, tanong natin dyan ano bang modes of procurement ang ginamit? So, ang sabi ni Sir ay bidding. Bidding yung term na ginagamit. Ngayon, usually kasi kapag bidding, ang pinag-uusapan natin, talagang competitive bidding yan. Kagaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, there should really be a competitive bidding. Meron kang posting of the notice to, yung posting of the invitation to bid, meron kang pre-bid conference, meron kang bidding proper with all of the people involved, and then meron kang awarding of the contract, at saka meron ka din yung pagbibigay ng tinatawag natin na notice to proceed. Again, sabi ko nga kanina, kapag ang bidding process ay kapag ang competitive bidding ay hindi naman kinakailangan at pasok na sa qualification ng tinatawag natin na alternative modes of procurement, then we go alternative modes of procurement. Bakit ko ito binabanggit? Kasi karamihan sa eskwelahan, sa RIC, karamihan po sa eskwelahan ay nag-a-undergo na po ng hindi siya competitive bidding, pero ang ginagamit sa eskwelahan ay yung tinatawag nating alternative modes of procurement.
Yes.
Karamihan dyan, ang ginagamit po ng mga school, I know si Ma'am Lilibet and Ma'am Vanessa, ang ginagamit ng mga yan ay shopping. Tama ba?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
doing shopping?
Yes
Shopping
po.
na yun.
Sir,
Sa mga eskwelahan kasi maliliit yung budget, kaya
Yun na
shopping
yung madali,
na.
sir eh.
Ano po?
Yun na po yung madali.
Yes, yan na yung madali. Pwede rin po kayo sa small value procurement. No? Pwede rin yung SMP na tinatawag, SVP, no? Small value procurement. Pero pinakamadali na nga ang over the counter, open shelf na shopping na lang. Okay? Pero kung kahit na shopping pa rin yan, meron pa rin tayong sinusundan na procedure na kung saan ang BAC ay powerful pa rin. Ayan, no? Sir Vic, ha? Hindi po pwede na si property custodian or si principal ang po pwedeng mag-initiate, no? Kapag ka sinabi ni principal in a legal sense ha, okay, in a legal sense. Hindi ko sinasabi dito na ito yung efficient or effective or ano. Ang binabanggit ko dito ay ang legal kasi gusto ko ito yung tandaan ninyo kapag sasagot kayo ng exam. Hindi ko sinasabi na, sir, paano yan? Huwag niyo munang i-challenge ito according to how it should be more practical to be conducted. Kasi alam natin na practically speaking, mas madali talaga kapag meron kang mga kausap na mga suppliers, di ba? Ma'am Lilibet and Ma'am Vanessa. Mas madali yun eh. Sir Joe, ganun din. Kung may mga kausap kang mga suppliers, it would be better kasi that's very practical to be done. Pero kapag sasagot tayo ng exam, it will always be on the legal basis. Tanong, pwede ba yun na aprobado na kaagad ni physical facilities kagaya ng tinatanong ni Sir Rick? Or alimbawa si principal tinawag na niya yung supplier tapos dineliver na ni supplier ang mga materials prior pa na gumawa ng mga canvas forms ang ating BAC members sa eskwelahan? That's totally wrong. No? It's a total reverse of the process. Kailangan, kapag meron kang procurement, sasabihin yung procurement, i-inform natin ang BAC. BAC, meron tayong procurement na ganito. Kailangan natin ng mga office supplies na ganyan. So anong gagawin ni BAC? Iko-convene yung BAC, mag-uusap, at sasabihin nila, okay, we go for the shopping. Isa-shopping na lang yan, maghahanap sila ng pinaka-lowest na mga gamit ang RFQ, no, nakasulat sa RFQ or the request for quotation, nakasulat doon kung ano yung mga items na kailangan, ano yung mga items na kailangan at kung magkano yung ABC. Ayan. Pwedeng gano'n, no? Pwedeng gano'n. Ito yung budget na nakalaan, ipapakita mo ngayon yan sa mga iba't ibang mga suppliers. At ang mga suppliers magbibigay naman ng kani-kanilang mga presyo. Magbibigay sila ng kani-kanilang mga presyo. Okay? So, ganun. Kapag kung sino man yung mga suppliers, pag kinuwenta mo lahat yung mga items na yon at kung sino may pinakamababa na amount, siya yung bibigyan mo ng contract. Siya yung pagbibilhan mo. That's the only time na pwede nang mag-proceed sa payment. Okay? Kapag na-prepare na yung mga vouchers, kapag approve na yung purchase request, approve na yung purchase order, at napirmahan na yung purchase order, pwede nang mag-proceed sa delivery. Alright? And after the delivery, pwede na rin bigyan ng payment. Pwedeng sabay yung delivery at saka yung payment. Pwedeng magsasabay yung dalawa. Alright? Maganda. Sige. Sandali lang po
Mali yung practice sa school.
Nalilito ako eh. Kaya kasi yun ang kasi pero ang sinasabi nila sa akin parang sometimes it is honest mistakes. That's all.
Shortcut na kasi yung nangyayari, sir, pag gano'n.
Mm.
Parang yung ginagawa ko sa
Oo,
school,
oo.
which is totally shortcut na rin, yung reverse na ng sinasabi ni sir. So, yun yung na-apply natin dito sa sagot.
Mm. Kaya naalala ko lang kasi back member ako eh. Kaso nga lang nagkaroon akong ganung experience sa
Yes,
school.
sir. So, mali yung practice natin sa school. Maganda rin na na-discuss ni sir.
Mm.
Opo.
Alright, sige ha. Yun. Sir Rick, malinaw na ba yon yung kuan? Hindi po pwede na si school head direct ha. Kailangan dumaan pa rin kay back. Opo? Okay, next. Number 13. In order to promote economy and efficiency, the procuring entity may resort to alternative methods of procurement. What method of procurement involves a direct procurement of goods from the previous winning bidder whenever there is a need to replenish goods procured under a contract previously awarded through competitive bidding? Anong tawag natin sa alternative mode of procurement na yan?
Repeat order, sir.
Yes, that's a repeat order, no? Pero ang repeat order ay may mga conditions po yan. Kailangan ay yung presyo pareho, no? At saka meron lang minimum na amount, ha? Meron lang minimum. Kung di ako nagkakamali, that is a 25% of or a maximum na repeat order lamang. And nangyayari lamang yung repeat order kapag previously nagkaroon ng competitive bidding. Hindi po pwedeng magkaroon ng repeat order kung hindi repeat order ang ginamit na procedure nung una. Okay? So, number 13 ay letter A. Number 14. What alternative mode of procurement shall be utilized by Masanto National High School when it has an unforeseen contingency requiring an immediate purchase?
Selective bidding.
Selective bidding. Selective bidding ba ito?
Ay, shopping pala, sir. Wrong shopping.
Yeah, shopping. No? It's shopping. Okay? Ang tawag po natin dito ay shopping if there is a unforeseen contingency at kailangan natin ng immediate purchase. Kanya nga, kung minsan, para medyo, para medyo maiba ng konti at mawala tayo dun sa definition ng immediate purchase. Kasi there was a time na it was questioned by COA, no? Sabi ng COA, bakit kayo nagsa-shopping palagi? Lagi bang meron ba kayo palaging unforeseen contingency? Yan ang tanong, no? Bakit laging shopping yung ginagamit? At hindi kayo gumamit ng iba pang mga modes of procurement. Sige, yun naman pala Sige, gamitin natin yung small value procurement or yung single source procurement, ganyan. Yan yung ginagamit namin na mga terms para naman maiba. We just follow the procedure kung paano naman ito gawin. Alright? Okay. Kapag unforeseen yung contingency, that's shopping. Number 15, this method does not require elaborate bidding documents wherein the supplier is simply asked to submit a price quotation or a pro forma invoice together with conditions of sale.
Procurement.
Single source procurement. No? Ang tawag po natin dito ay single source procurement. Usually, anong technical specification nito? Kapag nangyayari ito kapag number one, ano tawag nito? exclusive supplier, ayan, ng mga parts. Usually sa school, hindi naman natin ito nakikita dahil hindi naman napaka-technical yung mga ginagamit po natin ng mga equipment, no, sa ating school. Pero ginagamit natin ito, halimbawa kapag yung parte ng mga sasakyan, okay, na kailangan nating bumili talaga sa mga exclusive na mga distributor, yon. Single source procurement na yung ginagamit natin na procedure dyan. Okay? Number 16. Maligaya National High School had a case of 2 failed biddings. What alternative method of procurement should they immediately utilize? Kapag ka nagkaroon na ng failed 2 biddings, ano ang pwedeng gamitin? Pwede nang gamitin yung letter C, no? Nagkakaroon na po ng tinatawag natin na negotiated procurement, no? Ang negotiated procurement ay dinidetalye na lamang yung mga pangangailangan ng isang organization, lalong-lalo na yung mga technical specification niya, and then nagkakaroon na ng negotiated procurement with the different suppliers available, no? Medyo ngayon yung masalimuot na discussion regarding dun sa yung formally contract na narinig po natin sa mga balita. Actually, mahirap na i-judge yan on the basis kapag hindi mo masyadong alam yung process dahil nga iba yung na-waive kasi yung RA 9184 doon, no? And because of the waiving of the RA 9184, talagang inilalaban, no, ng government or ng DBM yung kanilang procedure na ginawa. But of course, it will be up to the court, no, to decide kung sino nga ba ang tama doon sa sinasabi ng Senate at saka yung depensa naman ng government, no, with regards to that. Pero kung titingnan lang natin on the value of yung emergency, kasi nasa state of emergency eh. And if that is the state of the emergency at nakalagay doon sa batas na nag-create noong Bayanihan Act na waive yung RA 9184, then they could go into the other modes of procurement other than competitive bidding. Okay? So ganoon din sa atin lalo na kapag may mga in the case of emergency nagagamit, no, yung iba pang mga natin, yung mga funds, lalo na kapag ka-LG yung pinag-uusapan, they go for yung waiving of the provisions of the RA 9184 at nagkakaroon ng emergency purchases. Okay? Kaya nga pansin nyo, gustong-gusto nila kapag naka-state of emergency yan. Okay? Number 17. The head of the procuring entity is faced with the need to procure a highly specialized type of goods which is known to be obtainable only from a very limited number of sources. Which should he choose?
Selective bidding.
Yan, selective bidding na yan ang tawag natin doon. Okay? Selective bidding. Okay? Limited number of sources kasi. So, selective bidding. Anong ginagawa in the selective bidding? Direct na kinukontak yung mga suppliers na alam nila na sila lang yung nagbibigay ng ganong klase ng mga items. Alright? Okay, number 18. Single source procurement or direct contracting may only be resorted by the procuring entity under the following conditions, except there is a case of 2 failed biddings, the procurement of good can only be obtained from the proprietary source. When the goods are sold by an exclusive dealer or manufacturer, and procurement of ordinary or regular supplies and equipment not available in the procurement service. Okay? Alin dyan ang hindi kasama?
2 and 3, sir.
2 and
3.
3, yes. Okay, the procurement of goods can only be obtained from the proprietary source and when the goods are sold by an exclusive dealer or a manufacturer. Yan. Halos magkakapareho, no, yung mga terms na nagagamit natin for the different alternative modes of procurement. So better if magkaroon tayo ng deeper, no, na readings about this para makakita tayo ng mas marami pa ng mga interpretations. Alright? Ayan. So single source procurement po or tinatawag po natin na direct contracting. Yan. Let me give yung emphasis doon sa procurement of ordinary or regular office supplies and equipment not available in the procurement service. Ano ba itong procurement service na ito? Sino ba ang namamahala nito ng procurement service? Nasubukan niyo na po bang pumunta ng procurement service, Ma'am Lilibet?
Hindi pa po, sir.
What about Ma'am Vanessa? Have you tried na nagpunta doon?
Ma'am, hindi. Sir, hindi po.
Okay. Saan ba natin makikita itong si procurement service? Ang procurement service ay nakabase po sa ating DBM. Ito ay ang opisina po ng DBM sa region. Doon din po lang tayo nakakabili ng mga supplies and equipment na under kung meron sa procurement service. Actually, ang sinasabi nila, halimbawa, binigay nila yung pera sa atin, MOOE. So, kailangan pumunta ka ng region DBM para doon ka bumili. Kasi nandoon yung pinakamura. No? Yung mga disinfectant spray na walang laman, yung mga ballpen na hindi sumusulat. Naalala ko tuloy yung mga yan. Yung coupon na napakanipis, na hindi ko alam kung sinasabi nila na coupon na white pero ang lumalabas parang newsprint, gano'n. Yung mga nabibili doon. Mura nga siya. Okay? Mura nga talaga. Kasi kung i-compare mo, halimbawa, yung coupon nila, pwede mo lang mabili sa kanila ng 150, 140 or lower. Samantalang dito, yung mga standard stores na natin, na yung retail nila nasa 180, 190. Sa kanila doon, mas mura pa talaga. No? Pero yun nga lang, maraming mga defective na mga and kung minsan, hindi ka na nagpupunta doon kasi pwede mo nang ma-justify. No? Ito lang po ang bibilhin namin pero ang pamasahin namin ay ganito. No? Worth 10,000 yung supplies na bibilhin namin pero yung gastos sa transpo ay aabot kami ng 2,000. So pwede mo nang ma-justify na hindi na pumunta doon sa regional DBM. Pero yung procurement service na yan ay para siyang para siyang supplier na government na mismong nandoon kay DBM. Okay? So, paano mo malalaman na alin yung mga items na available doon at kung magkano? 'Di ba na-try nyo na po na gumawa nung APPCSE? Tama ba, Ma'am Vanessa? Sergio? 'Di ba pinagpipil up tayo noon yung APPCSE? Annual Procurement Plan ng Common Supplies and Equipment.
Opo, sir.
Yes. Pinagsasabit tayo nun. Yun po yung mga items na yun na mabibili natin depende sa availability na nakalagay po sa ating procurement service. Okay? Ayan. Yan po yun. Yun po yung nangyari. Alright. Yan din po yung masalimuot na diskusyon na pinagsagutan ng Department of Health at saka ng Kasi sabi ng Department of Health, itinransfer nila yung pondo sa PS-DBM o DBMPS para sa procurement. Ayan. Syempre, sila yung pinakamura, ganyan, kaya nagkaroon ng transfer. Sabi nila ngayon, bawal na daw yan, pero gagawa pa ng batas. Pero under our rules, under our existing procurement guidelines, halimbawa yung isang implementing unit, meron siyang sariling pondo, ay pwede niyang i-transfer yung pondo ng MOOE niya papunta kay PSDBM at para bumili ng mga supplies. Alright? So pwedeng gawin yun. No? Pwedeng ginagawa pa rin natin ito ngayon. Hanggat walang batas na pumipigil dyan, ay legal pa rin yung process na yun. Okay? And number 19. When can a procurement entity resort to shopping? Okay? When can a procurement entity resort to shopping? A, when there is unforeseen contingency requiring immediate purchase not exceeding 200,000, procurement of ordinary supplies. If the amount has reached 200,000, can be split into several contracts or price quotations from at least 5 bona fide suppliers shall be obtained. Alin po dyan ang tama for number 19?
A, sir.
A. Ano yung term natin na nagamit dyan? Ano
Unforeseen. Unforeseen contingency.
That's right. No? Tama yung ni Ma'am Lilibet. Kapag meron kang unforeseen na contingency, automatically you go for shopping. Alright? The amount is reached and it can be splitted into several contracts. Actually, yung splitting of contract is a violation. Okay? Bawal na bawal gawin yan ha. Bawal na gawin yung tinatawag natin na splitting of contract. Kailan nangyayari yung splitting of contract? Kailan nangyayari yung splitting of Alright, no? Sorry po. Okay, sige. Number 19, ano? Yung procurement entity resort to Shopee. If there is, yung unforeseen contingency, that's one. And then yung tinatanong po kanina, yung splitting of contract. Kailan nangyayari yung splitting of contract? Halimbawa po, meron kayong may papagawa kayo na repair. Alright? May papagawa kayo na repair. I-repair po ninyo yung inyong CR. Pwede ba na ang gawin ko split ko siya, bibili ako ng materials ngayon, and then sa susunod na buwan, ay babayaran ko yung labor. Pwede ko bang gawin yon?
Pwede, sir.
Pwede, sabi ni Ma'am Lilibet. Okay. What about Ma'am Vanessa? Or Sergio?
Hindi sir, kasi ginagawa ko din, approve ng asadas.
Approve na.
Sir, ginagawa din po namin kaya pwede.
Correct. Pero actually, technically, yan po yung tinatawag natin na splitting of contract. Alright? Anong kailangan natin na gawin doon? Kailangan gumawa po tayo para hindi tayo ma-technical na may splitting of contract. Kailangan ang gawin po natin, buuin po natin. Gawa tayo ng program of works. Alright? Yung program of works na yon kailangan properly approved, no? Para hindi po siya magkaroon ng tinatawag natin na splitting of contract na hindi siya parte-parte, no? Hindi parte-parte yung ginagawa po natin. Kasi alam nyo, kung minsan din natin nakakaligtan ng tignan yan nagkuha na binayaran mo yung labor. Pero bakit binayaran mo yung labor nang hindi mo nakita yung mismong kontrata kung bakit ito ginawa or bakit nagkaroon ng ganong klase ng pagbabayad ng labor ng mga tao? Okay? Anong basis ng pagbabayad? Babalikan palagi yung kontrata na napirmahan. Okay? Yung napirmahan na ito yung technical specification ng project, nandyan yung title ng project, nandyan yung mga materials na gagamitin, andyan yung ilang araw kung paano ito gagawin, yung laborer magkano, yung mason magkano, yung carpenter magkano, yan. No? Yan yung tinatawag natin na kumpletong mga documents so that may iwasan po natin yung splitting of contract. Alright? Ngayon, pwede ba yun na bayaran ko muna or bilhin ko muna yung mga materials ngayon at saka sa susunod na yung labor, pwede naman gawin. Pero attachment pa rin natin yung kontrata na buo. Okay? Attachment pa rin natin yung kontrata na buo. Nakukuha po ba natin? Para maiwasan natin yung tinatawag natin na splitting or splitting of the contract. Alright? Yes, Sir Ricardo, you're raising your hand.
Sir, speaking of splitting, meron akong experience na naman, ano. Kasi si principal, wala siyang makuhang mason o kaya laborer na kakilala ng iba, gano'n. Ang kinuha niya yung relatives niya. Is it possible bang gano'n? May pwede bang gano'n na kunin ko yung kamag-anak ko as being a school head, siya nang gagawa, siya ang nagpipinta, nagde-labor, parang gano'n. Siya ang kukunin ko. Is it possible ba? Hindi ba ako makakasuhan as being a principal kasi relative ko yung kinuha ko?
Actually, pag dumaan din naman yun dun sa proper procedure of determining kung sino nga yung may pinakamababa na offer, hindi naman yun technically because it will be the back who will be considering it eh.
Okay, sir.
It will be the back determining it. Kaya nga yung sinasabi ko kanina na bago umpisahan yung project, kailangan ay kumpleto yung mga requirements. Nandyan yung title of the project, nandyan yung mga materials na gagamitin, ganito kahaba yung time na gugugulin mo, ganito yung amount ng labor. Ngayon, kapag ipinakita yan sa mga contractors at yung mga ay tinanong ng back kung sino may pinakamababa na offer at pinuntahan or binigay nila yung kanilang mga quotation, pasok naman doon, wala naman ng problema doon. Walang problema doon. Kasi dumaan naman sa process yan, and it is the COA or it's the back who recommended it na ganito yung gagawin. Okay, sir?
Okay na po, sir.
Okay pa. Ayan number 19 yan. 19. Alright, number 20. Repeat order may be allowed when it is provided for in the annual procurement plan. In here, the procuring entity directly procures goods from the previous winning bidder whenever there arises the need to replenish the goods. This, however, may only be allowed under special conditions except. Alin dyan yung mga hindi kasama na conditions para sa repeat order?
A, sir.
Ma'am Vanessa?
A po, sir.
Letter A po?
Yes,
Okay. Bakit ma'am A ang sagot? Bakit po kaya A ang sagot, ma'am?
sir. Ang process of ang ginawa ko, elimination, tinanggal ko yung tatlo. B, C, D.
Okay. Oo. Actually, ang tamang sagot ay A, no? Kasi nga ang repeat order does not result in the splitting of contract, tama 'yan. The unit price must be equal or lower, tama din 'yan. Kaya nga tama yung nagawa ni ma'am, process of elimination, ano? The repeat order shall be availed only within 6 months from the date of the notice to proceed arising from the original contract. That is also correct. Ang nagpamali lang kay A ay 25%, no, of the quantity of each item of the original contract. Hindi siya 50%. Okay? So number 20 po ay letter A. What is the best method of procurement shall be used by the head of the procuring entity when there is an unforeseen imminent danger to life or property during a state of calamity? Ayan may state of calamity. Or when time is of the essence arising from the natural or man-made calamities or other causes. Alin dyan po ang ginagamit natin? In the state of emergency, usually ang ginagamit po natin ay letter A, yes. Negotiated procurement. Tama, no? Nini-negotiate po talaga yan. So, time is of the essence, ang sabi ng ganun. So number 21 po ay letter A. 22. Which of the following are the prohibited acts for public officers under RA 9184? Except A. Opening of sealed bids on the appointed time for the public opening of bids. Splitting of contracts which exceed procedural purchase limits and competitive bidding. Unduly influencing or exerting undue pressure, delaying without justifiable cause the screening for eligibility, opening of bids, evaluation and post-qualification, and awarding of contracts. Alin po dyan ang tamang sagot? Again, babalikan natin yung tanong, prohibited, exempt. So pag ibig sabihin, it's a double negative, meron kang term na prohibited pero meron kang term na exempt. Ang hinahanap natin ngayon ay isang positive statement. Okay? So alin dyan ang positive statement na for A, B, C, and D?
A.
A, correct.
Yes, sir.
Opening sealed bids on the appointed time for the public opening of bids. Kung minsan makaka-encounter ka ng ganitong tanong, no? Tandaan natin na yung pagsagot po ninyo ng mga tanong ay nakabase lagi sa pag-analisa kung ano yung tinatanong mismo ng statement. In this particular case, there is a combination of two double negatives. Okay, double negative yan. Kapag double negative, although prohibited yan, although hindi ito inaalaw, hindi ito, how do you call that? Hindi ito in line, no, with the principles of assessment, ay paminsan-minsan nakakakita tayo dahil nga mahirap yung pag-analisa ng mga tanong. Ganun lang ang gagawin natin. Kapag nakakita ka na ng term na negative, kagaya nito, meron kang prohibited act, tapos sa dulo niya may exempt, it's a double negative. Ang hinahanap dyan ay ang positive statement. Okay, number 22 ay letter A. Lahat na po ito, yung B, C, D are all negative. Splitting of contract, unduly influencing, delaying, yan. So these are the different negative terms. 23. Ate, government procurement is governed by the following principles except. What are the three governing principles?
Transparency, accountability, and competitiveness, sir.
Yes, transparency, accountability, and competitiveness. Ang hindi po kasama dito ay ang responsibility. Correct. 23 po ay letter D. 24. In order to ensure an effective and efficient method, what governing principle of procurement is applied? Effective and efficient method. What governing principle of procurement is applied?
Transparency.
Transparency ba?
Monitoring.
Accountability.
Accountability. Isa pa.
Public monitoring. Public monitoring, sir.
It's letter C. Streamlining and use of technology in the procurement. Itong principle na ito, yun yung ginagamit natin yung PhilJeps. Okay? Kaya nga nagbibigay ito ng mas effective at efficient method kasi ginagamit natin yung mga online modes in terms of procurement. So we use technology right now in terms of procurement that makes it more effective and more efficient. Okay? Number 24 po ay letter C. 25. RA 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act explains the corrupt practices of public officers. Which of the following is not considered a corrupt practice? Not considered. Indirectly requesting any gift, accepting or having any member of his family accepted employment in a business enterprise, divulging valuable information of a confidential character, or unsolicited gifts or presents of small or insignificant value offered or given as mere token of gratitude or friendship according to local custom or usage. What's the correct answer? What's the correct answer for number 25?
Indirectly requesting any gift.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Corrupt practice po yan, ma'am. Indirectly requesting any gift. Percent, share, percentage, or benefit for himself or any other person. That is a corrupt practice. Isa pa po.
Sir, D po, sir.
B.
Letter D, yes. Yung unsolicited gifts or presents of small value Lalo na kapag pinag-usapan natin yung local custom or usage, pinapayagan po ito. So hindi ito nire-regard as a corrupt practice. Okay? Pero yung indirectly requesting, ayan, yung nagpapasaring, yan, mga ganong mga klase ng mga cases. I know you've heard a lot of stories about it already. Okay? But in the case of yung RA 3019, its letter D po nakalagay na not considered a corrupt practice. 26. Standard of ethics must be followed in the government procurement process. Which of the following malpractice refer to a scheme or arrangement between two or more bidders with or without the knowledge of the procuring entity? Anong tawag natin doon?
Collusive.
Collusive practice. Correct. Kailan ito nangyayari? Nangyayari ito kapag nag-usap na yung dalawang bidder. Okay? So nag-usap na yung dalawang bidder. So it's a collusive practice, and that will have to be properly monitored, no? Yung dalawang supplier pero alam nila na kung sino na yung mananalo dahil nag-usap na sila kung sino yung sige, ako na lang ang mananalo kasi bibigyan na lang kita ng share mo, parang gano'n, no? Pero kung titignan natin, it will be unethical, but it will not be to the disadvantage of the government, no? Why? It's because silang dalawang nag-usap, yung mga bidders na yun, without the knowledge of the procuring entity. So it's a practice, it's unethical, no? It's unethical. But it doesn't mean that that it is a ground for how do you call that? An administrative offense on the part of the procuring entity, no? Hindi naman nila yon hawak, no? Kung nag-usap man yung dalawa. Pero nangyayari 'yan, no? Nangyayari 'yan. So ako na muna dito, halimbawa, dalawang suppliers, dalawang contractors, sabihin nila, ako muna ngayon dito, tapos sa susunod ikaw naman. Parang ganun. Just to say na merong kalaban na bidder, so mapapansin niyo pagkakapareho yung mga nagbibid diyan, no? Lalo na kapag construction ang pinag-uusapan. So collusive practice. Which of the following can be a consequence for a bidder who will be found to have committed an act that constitutes fraud or to have colluded with others?
All, sir.
Correct. Ayan, ang sinasabi ko, no? So, hindi administrative offense on the part of the procuring entity. Pero pag napatunayan na nagkaroon talaga ng connivance, ang magkakaroon ng penalty ay yung mga bidders. So, magkakaroon ng imprisonment of not less than 6 years, suspension of 1 year for the first offense, and suspension of 2 years for the second offense. Ayan. All of the choices po, all of that ay po pwedeng maging kaparusahan. Sir Ricardo, go ahead.
Sir, may question ako dito sa bidders, no? Dati meron kaming bidders na taga Dagupan. I am from Dagupan. So, dalawa lang sila. Here comes the new principal. Meron siyang pinabid na isa, no? Nagkaroon kami ng bagong bidder. Taga ibang lugar. Nakilala niya. Maaring pero nasagot niyo na kayo natin parang kung sino yung mababa, di ba? Pwede ba yung sabihin ng principal isang bidder na kayo ay pumunta sa school namin at isa rin kayong maging bidder ko, parang ganun? Which is parang kakilala niya.
Kung kakilala.
Oo.
Actually,
pero ibang lugar.
Ang sinasabi lang ng let us answer that according to kung ano yung sinasabi lang ng ating procurement law. Ang sinasabi lang kasi ng procurement law, we disseminate the invitation to bid to as many parties as we can. Okay? So the more the better. Yun ang principle na yun. So ang pinaka-principle na hinahanap doon ay the more the better. The more bidder, the better. No, yun yung tinitingnan. So on your question of pwede ba si principal na magtawag ng mga bidders to participate? Actually, yung pagtawag ng mga bidder to participate ay trabaho ng BAC, no? Trabaho ng BAC, no? Ito ang sagot lang na, ang pagsagot ko lang ay according to kung ano yung legal grounds ha. Kasi technically, halimbawa may bidding naman, natanong si principal, meron ba? Pwede naman. Pwede naman niyang sabihin. No? Pero ang pinaka-primary function ng pinaka-primary function ng pag-disseminate ng information ay nandoon kay BAC. Alright? And then ang on the part of the principal, on the part of the head of the procuring entity, hindi naman siya minamandate, no? Hindi naman sinabi ng RA 9184 na, oy principal or the head of the procuring entity, bawal kang magsalita. Bawal kang magsabi. Alright? Kaya kung sasabihin natin, kung meron bang legal grounds, halimbawa na si principal ay nakapagtawag ng mga iba pang mga bidders, I don't think there is a legal ground para sabihin mo na meron siyang violation. Kasi kung alin man yung, sabi nga ng principle ng batas, what the law does not prohibit, it allows. Kung narinig nyo na yung principle na yan. Wala naman kasing sinabi sa RA 9184 na si principal ay hindi pwedeng magbanggit ng mga information about bidding. Pero ang sinasabi lang ng RA 9184 natin, we disseminate the information to the widest possible audience. Okay? Kaya nga, I don't think may legal grounds yan, sir, kung halimbawa na si principal ay nagtawag ng iba pang mga bidders. Magkakaroon lang ng violation dyan, sir, kung ipinilit niya na siya ang manalo. Okay? Ipinilit niya na siya ang manalo.
Okay, sir. Okay po.
Kasi ang magdedetermine pa rin ng panalo dyan ay kung sino yung may pinaka-lowest na calculated bid. And it will be recommended by the BAC to the head of the procuring entity. Okay po?
Okay, sir. Okay po.
Yes. Number 28. Fiscal management covers the following areas: proper planning of the SIP, sourcing of funds and other resources, proper allocation of funds and other sources, actual use of resources and their care in the interest and efficiency of efficiency and effective towards achievement of desired outcomes, as well as accountability. Anong tamang sagot natin dyan for fiscal management?
D, sir.
D.
All.
Lahat po yan ay covering the aspects, no, of fiscal management. Proper planning of the SIP, sourcing of funds, proper allocation, and actual use of the resources. Okay? A sound fiscal management will have to cover all of the areas. Next, 29. As stipulated under Section 1, Article 2 of the Philippine Constitution, RA 6713, public office is a public trust. Therefore, public officials must
D ulit. All of the
be
above.
correct. Be at all times accountable to people, serve people with utmost honesty, responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, and act with patriotism and lead modest lives. Ang RA 6713 ay pinaka-importante that document in terms of the legality of the ethical standards ng ating mga public officials. Kasama na lahat ng mga miyembro ng civil service. Kasama na po tayo doon. Okay? 30. The school principal as a fiscal manager understands and ensures compliance with the regulations, policies, and procedures, ensures that the procurement activities are actively, properly, and adequately staffed and are functioning efficiently, following all the policies, ensures that the school systems are present, covering property management, and so on, makes certain that assets are well maintained and whenever he wishes to, ensure funds are budgeted, made available, and spent according to fiscal policy in alignment with account purpose. Alin dyan ang tamang sagot?
D,
Letter D
sir.
ulit. D, sir, D.
Letter D. Ang hindi kasama ay item number 4. Make certain that assets are well maintained and whenever he wishes to. Yan. Nakabase lahat ng fiscal management according to the needs of the school. And it will always be determined by the need as identified in the priority improvement areas or the annual improvement plan or annual implementation plan, na ginagawa po natin sa ating mga eskwelahan. Okay? 30 is letter D. 31. Again ha, yung sound fiscal management na binabanggit natin, it will always start with the SIP from the SIP to how do you call that? The AIP, and from the AIP translated into our APP. Para nang sa ganun, masasabi natin na mayroong sound fiscal management that will coincide with overall school management. Okay? Nangangahulugan lang ito na alam ni principal na yung SIP na tinutumbok niya, okay, ay properly implemented via the yearly AIP, at yung yearly AIP ay reflected based on the annual procurement plan na kanyang isinasubmit. Okay? 31. The budget proposal embodies the school thrust and resources needed to produce quality education to be delivered to the public. Okay? The school head shall therefore prepare. Ano yung piniprepare ni school head dito?
Work financial plan.
Yes,
WFP, sir.
the work financial plan. Okay? Alam natin to kapag nasa field ka na, you are already well-oriented no dito sa mga different stages na yan or documents. 32. The Project Procurement Management Plan or the PPMP deals primarily with the following. Planning for procurement, bidding or procurement strategy, source selection, delivery and payment schedule, contract administration, and contract termination.
Lahat po, sir.
Lahat yan, correct. All of these are important no, in the PPMP. Okay? Nakasama lahat po yan kapag piniprepare po natin itong PPMP natin. Ang PPMP natin ay importanteng document that will support our existing APP. Our APP will be determining the itemized budget for the whole year. And then for the PPMP naman ay it talks about the procurement plan. Kailan mo bibilin ito, ilan ang bibilin mo na ganyan. Anong buwan, ilan ang items sa bibilin. Yan yung mga tinitignan natin. Kasama na din dyan yung delivery and payment schedule and the bidding or procurement strategy na gagamitin po natin. 33. With the end goal of promoting gender equality and also a living document of the civil service continuing commitment in mainstreaming gender and development in its regular functions, what is the legal basis for the formulation of the annual GAD plan of an agency?
Letter A, sir. Nasa GAA.
Letter A, correct. The GAA. No? The Section 27 of the General Appropriations Act of 1995. Actually, yung GAA yearly yan na ginagawa. Ang General Appropriations Act ay palagi yan na nakalagay in the GAD plan of a particular agency. Ilang percent ang GAD natin for our agency, for every school?
5%, sir.
5%. No? 5% of our annual budget. GAD budget is by attribution. All of the following are true to GAD budget except agencies must set aside a separate budget for the GAD activities. Agencies can integrate GAD activities into their regular PPAs. The cost of implementing GAD shall be at least 5%. Okay. A portion of the whole budget of the year of an agency's major programs or projects during the GAD planning and budgeting phase by subjecting the program analysis using HGDG checklist. The Hagadaga. Harmonized gender and development. What is G? Harmonized gender and development goals. Yeah. So anong tamang sagot for number 34? Yung attribution?
Letter B.
Letter B, yes, no? Integrate GAD activities into their regular PPAs, no? It should have a separate program ha kapag GAD, kaya nga nire-require po tayo ng GAD na mag-submit ng separate na work financial plan, ng separate na proposal para sa iba't ibang mga activities natin relative to GAT. Okay? So, number 34 po ay letter B. 35. Balimpok Elementary School has a monthly allocation of 22,600. How much should be attributed to GAD-related activities?
Letter B.
B, sir.
Letter B. Paano natin na-compute yung 13,560?
22,600 times 12 times 0.05.
Yeah. 22,600 times 12 multiplied by 0.05 para makuha natin yung 13,560. 36. Posting of Ayan. Posting of a school transparency board is a product of RA 9485. The transparency board shall be located in. Saan ba dapat nakalagay ang ating transparency board? Letter
D.
Letter D.
D. Yes. An area open to the public view and frequented by the stakeholders. Correct. 36 po ay letter D. 37. To communicate to all stakeholders the status of the school and the conditions under which it operates, the school head shall prepare and present the, ano yung piniprepare ni school head?
SRC.
SRC. Okay. SRC, the school report card. Bakit hindi pwedeng all of the above? May liquidation
Yung
report sa
statement of assets and liabilities, sir, hindi naman
Ayan,
ito
okay.
pinupost.
Correct. So, syempre, the school report card. And besides, lahat ng financial transactions, lahat ng financial activities na ginawa ng eskwelahan ay nakareport na doon sa ating school report card under the area on governance. 38. Sources of fund in the school include MOOE, private donations, grants, funding, support. Oh,
Lahat.
okay.
Letter D, sir.
Lahat, sir.
Letter
Lahat.
D. All of that, no? Collection of fees like graduation fees kasama din hindi kasama ang collection of fees like the graduation
Opo.
fees kasi bawal.
Yes.
1
Bawal
to 7 lang. Okay? Income generated from the disposal of assets. Actually, hindi na po pwede ito ngayon, no? Just to give you the update, no? Kung dispose na kayo ng inyong mga waste materials, okay? Income generated from the disposal of assets ay hindi na ito po pwedeng magamit as
Yes,
part
sir.
ng school fund. Why? According to the latest COA regulation, lahat ng mga napagbentahan ng mga disposed assets, yung mga waste materials, ay diretso na po sa Bureau of Treasury.
Treasury.
Yeah. Hindi na pwedeng gamitin ito ngayon. Alright. Revenue from school canteen operations, yes. Funding support from the local stakeholders, okay. Funding support from the LGU and grants from the different development partners. Okay. 38 ay letter D. School MOOE shall be utilized for the following except. Alin dyan ang hindi kasama for the MOOE utilization?
Seats, tables.
Letter D, sir, D.
Correct. Letter D, to procure school seats and teachers' tables and chairs.
Pero sir,
Kasi-
nakapag-procure po ako dati ng teacher's table. Inallowed naman ng COA.
Okay. So po pwedeng inalaw ng COA. Baka naman na-justify nyo, ma'am.
Yes, sir, kasi wala po talagang teacher's table yung bali 5 po na classroom ang walang teacher's table.
Okay, tama. At least na-justify ninyo sa COA, no? Pero again, technically, ito ay hindi po pwede at ipinagbabawal sa MOOE. Okay? So, meron lang mga ganong mga cases, ha? Ulitin ko na naman, you might have that kind of experience, pero it doesn't mean that is the legal one, no? Hindi po ito pinapayagan under the conditions of the school of MOE utilization. Okay? So, baka kasi magkaroon tayo ng conflict mamaya. So, yung procurement ng school seats and then the teacher's tables ay hindi po ito pinapayagan under the MOE. Okay? Kasi may mga cases na lumulusot din yan eh. Halimbawa, bumili ka ng TV na more than 15,000, pinayagan naman dahil talagang kinakailangan and for the purpose of digitalization at nakasama naman sa SIP ninyo or APP ninyo or doon sa inyong annual implementation plan, ay pinapayagan yan basta may proper communication with the COA. But again, that is the COA interpretation. And now, if we go by the technical definition ng utilization ng MOE, lahat po ng nabanggit ko ay hindi pwede. No, hindi po pwede. So we always go with what is the legal basis other than the one that we are practicing. Okay? Number 40. Government funds are appropriated for specific purposes. Principle Z, use the budget allotted for minor repairs of roofs for the purpose of procurement of printers. What offense did he or she commit?
Technical.
Yan, technical malversation of funds. Okay? Technical malversation of funds. All right? Next, wala ang term na juggling of funds ha. Ang juggling of funds ay the layman's definition ng technical malversation. Okay? Ng technical malversation. Just to give the point, no? Baka kasi magkaroon tayo ng problema mamaya dun sa terms eh. Ang legal term ng juggling of funds ay technical malversation. So hindi kinakasuhan ng isang empleyado ng juggling of funds offense. Pero kinakasuhan siya ng technical malversation. Okay, next. The intentional or illegal use of the funds of another person for one's own use, or other unauthorized purpose by a public official. Anong tawag natin doon sa offense na yan?
Misappropriation of funds.
Yan, misappropriation of funds. There is a deliberate, no? There is a kind of deliberate attempt to misappropriate the funds for personal gain. Yung kanina, yung technical malversation na sinasabi natin, mula sa isang appropriation, inilipat siya. Mula sa isang purpose, inilipat siya sa ibang purpose. So, technical malversation yun. Okay? Yung misappropriation naman, hindi. Kasi from the very start, nagkaroon na ng deliberate act to misappropriate the budget for personal use. 42. A person can be charged with technical malversation because of the three elements, except the offender is an accountable officer, that the offender has acted in good faith, that he applies public funds for property and its administration to some public use, or D, that the public use other than that for which a fund or property were applied is different from the purpose for which they were originally appropriated by law or an ordinance. So alin dyan ang hindi kasama na elements for technical malversation?
Letter B, sir.
Letter B, correct. That the offender has acted in good faith. Alam nyo, pwedeng mangyari yan eh. Nangyari na sa akin yan one time. In good faith, I have answered the COA because we received parang AOM, no? Audit Observation Memorandum, and we needed to comply. In the audit memorandum, sinasabi ng COA na bakit mo ipinagbili ng iba pang mga items like yung mga goods instead na mga lutong ulam, kasi ano yun eh, yung feeding program fund, ayaw ng COA ng double feeding. Kulang na yung araw kasi may mga bakanting araw because of yung mga bagyo. Walang pasok. Syempre, ay alangan naman na ano mo, di ba? Kaya na sumobra yung pera. So merong ilang araw, mga I think 5 days na araw na hindi nakapag-feed. So tinanong namin ng COA, ang sabi ng COA, bawal ang double feeding. So ang ginawa, hindi kami pwedeng magpakain ng umaga at magpakain ng hapon. Bawal daw yung double feeding. So anong ginawa namin? Dahil bakasyon na, hindi na namin matawag yung mga bata, bumili na lang kami ng mga goods na ibibigay sa mga bata. Ang problema, na audit yon, no? Sabi ng COA bawal. Kasi yung goods na yon, hindi ka na daw sigurado kung yung goods na yon ay kinain ng bata or kinain ng mga pamilya. So hindi na lamang doon sa bata napunta yung pagkain. So sabi niya, why did you do that? So sabi ko naman, I acted in good faith, no? Sabi ko ganun. So there was never an intention to malign or to mishandle the feeding program, but it is with the due circumstances, no, yun sinabi ko. And ang pinakalas na depensa ko doon, that is the act of a diligent father, parang gano'n. Being a diligent father, yun na lang ang pinaka naisip ko na paraan para kahit paano ay magamit pa rin ng bata. Kesa naman na gamitin na namin in school yung sobrang pera, di ba? So, yan. So, if the offender has acted in good faith and it was properly relayed naman, at saka the court will abide with it, halimbawa, in a court, napatunayan na wala naman talagang mali siya doon sa paggamit ng pondo, then hindi ito pwedeng maklasify as technical malversation. Okay? 43. The following are the documents that serve as prerequisite to the approval of requests for demolition except certification by the school head that the building is that if the building is demolished, classes will not be disrupted. So kasama yan. Photographs of the building to be demolished, kasama din yan. Indication of a probable funding for replacement, kasama din po yan. Kasi hindi ka pwedeng magpa-demolish kapag walang certification na may building na darating. Okay? So, yun yung tatlong yun nakasama sa mga documents. Ang hindi lamang kasama dyan ay yung letter D. Kasi yung certification from the city, municipal engineer that the building is unfit for occupancy, nasa final stage na yun. Okay? Tinatanong lang dito ay yung prerequisite, no, to the approval of request for demolition. Ang letter D ay ginagamit na natin kapag magkakaroon na ng final approval. Okay. Number 44. The following are the steps to be undertaken for a school building of no historical value can be demolished. What is the correct chronological arrangement? Medyo mahaba ito. Alin dyan ang unang-unang gagawin?
Letter C, sir.
Okay, letter C.
3. The school
Correct. Yung
head
number 3,
request.
tingnan mo kaagad kung anong unang-unang gagawin. The school head shall request for an ocular inspection and assessment of the school building perceived to be hazardous from the building official. And then followed by 1. The school building perceived to be hazardous should be immediately cordoned to keep off students. And then followed by number 6. Pending the result of the ocular inspection for the building official, the school head shall secure the pertinent documents as a prerequisite to the approval of request for demolition. Sometimes, hindi ko na patatapusin kasi mahaba ito. Just have to read on that. Ang ibibigay ko lang na tip dyan ay kapag ganyan kahaba yung mga tanong, piliin mo na kaagad yung mga choices, alin ang nauna sa kanila. 1, 2, 3, and 9. Alin dyan ang pinaka-viable? No? Kapag nakita mo, alang 1. Alangan naman na number 1 ka agad, i-cordon mo na. 2, when the building is declared, alangan na yan ang mauna, i-declare pa lang naman yan, or na-i-declare na. No? And then number 9, the division back or the school back shall conduct bidding for the demolition. That's already another case. Kaya ang pinakamalapit dyan ay letter C. Kasi kung titignan mo yung C, yan yung pinakauna talaga na step na gagamitin po natin. Okay? Number 45. Tama yung nabanggit ni Ma'am Vanessa kanina na sometimes kung hindi mo talaga alam yung sagot, banatan mo na lang siya doon sa tinatawag natin na process of elimination. Okay, number 45. The sale of the salvage materials shall be, medyo na ito ngayon kasi nabago na, no? Yung tanong na ito kasi, ang binabanggit dyan, nakadeposit pa yan sa trust fund. Pero ngayon, hindi na siya sa trust fund dinideposit, ha? Ang sale ng mga salvage materials ay idinideposit na right away sa Bureau of Treasury. Okay? Let's be clarified on that. But for the purpose of answering this question at wala pa yung naunang guidelines or wala pa yung bagong guidelines na i-release, ang sagot po natin dito ay letter A. Okay? Pero sa ngayon, babaguhin na po yan ngayon, ang sale ng mga salvage materials ay nadideposit na po sa Bureau of Treasury. 46. This refers to the canteen operated and managed by secondary students as part of their home economics classes. Anong klaseng canteen yun?
Laboratory.
Yes. Yan ang tinatawag natin na laboratory canteen. Okay? Meron din tayong school managed canteen. Meron ka ding tinatawag na teachers cooperative cooperative managed canteen. Okay? So depende yan sa may mga pagkakaiba-iba ng hatian yan ng percentage. A school canteen refers to one of the ancillary services in the school system that sells food items to the pupils or students and serves as a support mechanism in the effort to eliminate malnutrition. Which of the following is not true about school canteens? A laboratory canteen can be operated and managed in elementary schools in the rural areas. Alin dyan ang not true? Sige.
Okay, sir. Kasi yung sa
A.
secondary.
Correct. Ang laboratory kasi ay para lang sa secondary school. Correct. So, ang pwede sa elementary ay pwede kayong school manage or pwede ka rin naman yung cooperative managed. Okay? Pero yung laboratory ay para lamang po yan sa secondary. Okay, 48. All canteens are required to secure the following permits or clearances. Alin dyan po yung hindi kasama?
All, sir.
Lahat po yan. Okay? All of the choices are required prior to school canteen operation. Sanitation permit, okay? Health permit, at saka authority from the school head to operate and manage the laboratory canteen. Pwede ba ang canteen consignment?
Hindi po.
Yes,
Hindi.
sir.
Yeah. Hindi po pinapayagan. Pero ginagawa. Okay? Pero
Yes, sir.
ginagawa.
Ginagawa nga nila.
Ginagawa. Totoo yan. No? Pero, technically, hindi ito dapat inilalagay into a form of consignment. Okay? Number 49. Repair and maintenance of government vehicles includes spare parts, gasoline and oil, cost of repairing and maintaining government vehicles, or cost of repainting to make the vehicle look presentable.
Spare parts.
That is cost of repair and maintaining government vehicles.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Cost of repairing and maintaining government vehicles. Lahat na yan. Kasi it will encompass everything. No? Spare parts, gasoline and oil, kasama na po yun doon. Okay, that's the term. 50, last. The following activities are eligible for expense items to be charged within the or against the MOOE funds to support the implementation of the BELCP in the time of COVID-19 pandemic. Alin dyan yung exempt, Sir Joe? Yan, major improvements in the classroom. Sa ngayon, ang ating BELCP, pinapayagan yung production and distribution of IC collaterals, maintenance of respiratory and hand hygiene, and the procurement of the PPEs. Ayan, no? Number 50 po ay letter D. Okay? So, 50 items po yan.